Look who's driving! It's a miracle I haven't forgotten how. So we have come to Custer, Montana.
Yep, it's about 45 minutes from Little Bighorn
Battlefield National Monument.
Yep, it's about 45 minutes from Little Bighorn National Battlefield.
Nope.
Yep, it's about... Yep, it's about 45 minutes from Little Bighorn Battlefield National Monument.
You're gonna have to do it again.
Yep, it's about 45 minutes from Little Bighorn Battlefield National Monument, which is where we're headed now. We're just here for the one night, so we figured while we're close,
right,
let's check it out.
Yeah, we're not moving at the moment because we're sitting in traffic on a rural Montana road. The road's completely gone, it's just gravel and there's a line of traffic. So we decided that instead of pulling the trailer from the interstate, I think it's I-94,
yep,
the 45 minutes to the battlefield, just to go right back the next day, we decided we'll just camp right on 94. There's a little campground there we'll show you later.
Don't get too excited.
Yeah, don't hold your breath. But anyways, we figured it's better just to drive the van there. And there weren't really a lot of great campground options right near there, so.
We got there relatively early, so we figured, what the heck.
Exactly. We have come to Little Bighorn Battlefield National Monument. We're doing the 5-mile drive that leads you through the area where the battle took place. As you drive the 5 miles back, there are stops along the way with kiosks that have information on the different phases of the battle at that particular area. So you can read about the history and what was happening at a particular time in a particular location.
Right, and each kiosk has like an image of the actual area that you're looking at, so you can kind of get a feel for where actually things took place.
A really interesting way to do it. You can't see any from right here, but at certain locations there are grave markers marking the locations where the men fell. So a little backstory, a little background on the Battle of Little Bighorn. Full disclaimer, we're learning as we go here, so if we get some things wrong, we're sorry. We're by no means experts on this topic. So this battle happened in 1876. The two main players in it were Lieutenant Colonel Custer.
Yep.
And
Sitting Bull.
It was during a time in our country where the Native Americans were being moved onto reservations, and there were certain Native Americans known as Buffalo Warriors that were resistant to that. They were accustomed to and liked their way of life and didn't want to be told what to do. And so the Sioux Wars ensued, and one of the battles is the Battle of Little Bighorn.
Yep.
Ultimately, the Native Americans won the battle. What led to that were several different factors. Number one, Custer was under the impression that the warriors were in the 700 range, when in actuality it was closer to somewhere around 2,000. So he was way outnumbered. He didn't realize, I guess, that multiple tribes banded together. Custer's scouts told them that they thought that the numbers were larger than they had originally thought, but he sort of ignored that and continued forward. Also, they thought that the Native Americans had scouted them, had seen that they were coming, and they worried that they were going to scatter. And they didn't want that. They didn't want any of them getting away, because their mission is to bring them or force them all onto reservations. So if they scattered, they wouldn't be able to do that. So that caused Custer to rush into an immediate battle rather than perhaps wait and regroup and come into it with maybe a
better plan.
Exactly. So all of those factors, and then probably many more, led ultimately to their demise.
Yeah, to the demise of hundreds.
Yeah.
Warriors ascend the large ravine behind you, pursuing Custer's troops. Soldiers retreat through the area to your front and right. Indians position themselves along the ridge to your left, known as Greasy Grass Ridge.
This is the location of Custer's last stand, so you'll notice there's a bunch of grave markers in this one location.
This is also where Custer
himself
fell.
Right, so that 41 of his men were all ambushed here by the Lakota, Arapaho, and Cheyenne tribes. Custer and his men actually shot their horses and used them
for cover.
Right.
Trying to hide.
But they were just overwhelmed by the Native Americans, and ultimately this was where they died.
So if you notice, there's a black marker amongst all the white ones. The black marker is actually Custer's gravestone. So it's been a really great place to visit. I love being able to see the history of our country, as we travel.
Right, yeah, this lifestyle, it's amazing how much we learn at every stop. I don't know how much of that we'll retain, but we love learning it.
I sometimes feel like I'm getting a better education now than I did when I was in high school.
Number one, we're older, so you just have more interest. But number two, it's more interesting when you're actually seeing it in person rather than reading about it in a book. And this park does a particularly good job of representing and honoring both sides of the battle. And I think this place really makes you kind of stop and reflect on that time in our history. All right, well, this was home last night. It's called the Fort at 49, and it is literally just a grass field the front row seat of the interstate. But it put us right off the exit where we wanted to be to visit Little Bighorn Battlefield. It had full hookups. It was a little pricey at $35 a night for just being in a field, but it served its purpose for one night, and we're moving on today, continuing west.
All right, let's roll.